Hey gang, we're just finishing up chapter 1.1 for the stats section. We're doing again mean, median, and mode, looking at the back side of our notes. And we're going to again focus in on goals number 3 and 4, find the mean, median, mode, and range of our data. And as we take a look, we should know what that means. Again, mean is the average. That's the sum of the data divided by the total number. Median is the middle number, and sometimes there's two of them. So we're going to have to find the average of those. Mode is the value or values that occur the most. And if there is none, then we just say none. So if you don't see a number that occurs more than once. And the range is the difference from the greatest to the smallest number. Just so take the biggest number in your data minus the little. It's pretty easy. All right. So we're taking a look at example 5 now. And in example 5, it says the times that took 5 students to complete a science experiment are listed in the table below. Find the mean, median, and mode. So it says Susan took 6 minutes, Tom was 8, Mary was 9, Al was 12, and Eric did not finish. Well, we have some data here that has no numbers to it, then we don't include it in our data. So do not include. We can only use data that of the people that actually did it. So if we take a look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 students. So we're going to take those numbers for our mean. 6 plus 8 plus 9 plus 12. And we're going to divide it by the 4 students that we have data for. Okay, and again, that's our X bar. That's our mean or average. So we add those guys up. We take 6 plus 8 plus 12. If you need to, use your calculator. Plus 9 plus 12, we get 35. And then we divide by 4. So we get about 8.75 minutes it takes. And if I'm a teacher and I'm trying to plan something, then I'd want to know how long this is going to take me. It's going to take me about 9 minutes for these kids. It might take longer, but on average, it's going to take 8.7 minutes. 8.75. Okay. The mean is looking at the two numbers in the middle. The nice thing is this data is already set up. So as I take a look, I've got 8 and 9 are our median numbers. And when I add those up and divide by 2, that gives me 8.5 minutes. Okay. Again, these are word problems, so it's always nice to have some units here. Last but not least is our mode. And if I look at these minutes, they're all listed. And I only see those numbers once, so there is none. So we have no mode. Okay. All right, so the next question you might run into is something like this. It says the average of 5 tests was 85. What is the sum of our scores? So when we sum, again, means to add them up. So what's our final sum? So that's what I'm going to make our X value. And as we set it up, we always do our sum over the number of tests, in our case 5, and that's equal to our average. Our average was 85. Now this is just an algebra problem. If I have X divided by 5, the opposite of divided by is times. And I'm going to multiply by 5 to both sides. And if I take 85 times 5, we get 425. If you want to have some kind of units, I'd use points. So we get 425 for our final answer. Example 7 talks about Ethan. Ethan has taken 3 math tests of scores of 78, 82, and 76. And find the score he needs on the next test in order to have an 80 average. So if I take a look, he's taken 3 tests, and if he takes one more, now we're at 4 tests. And I don't know what that score is, so I'm going to call it X. So that's my 4th test score. So as I set up, if I'm talking about average, I'm going to take all of my numbers and add them up. I don't know what the 4th one is, so I'm going to call it X. I'm going to divide it by how many tests I have. Well, there's 3 tests that I've taken already, plus the 4th one, so I'm going to have 4. And I have an 80 of 80, is what my goal is. Okay, so again, now we just do a little algebra. I'm going to go ahead and add up all these numbers here. Okay, and while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 4. That way these are canceling. When I add those numbers up, I got 78 plus 82 plus 76 is 236. And 80 times 4 is 320. And now to solve for that score, I'm going to subtract over 236. Okay, so as I take a look, 320 minus 236, he needs an 84. For the fourth test. So if you want to have units, maybe a score or points, 84 points for the fourth test. All right. Last but not least, we have Lucas's golf average over 5 rounds was 81. So he had 5 rounds and his average was 81. He shot a 76 on the next round. What is his new average? Now, it doesn't list out what his scores were here, okay, like they did in example 7. So I have to kind of figure out, well, what did he score as a total sum for that 5 rounds? Okay, and that's where we can kind of go back up to the idea of number 6. So I'm going to say X is the sum of the 5 rounds. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, I don't know what that is. I'm going to divide it by his 5 rounds that he played, and I know his average was 81. And now if I multiply by 5, 81 times 5, that gives me 405. So that was the sum that he had for each one. Okay, the sum for all 5 rounds, I should say. Okay, well now he's going to go and play again, and he shot a 76. So I'm going to take that sum of the 5 rounds, and I'm going to add it to this new round of 76. And now I'm going to divide it by how many rounds, which is now his 6th round. And we want to figure out what this average is. What's this new X bar? So I'm going to take that 405 and add 76. So I got 481. Now I'm going to divide that by 6. So if I take 481 divided by 6, that's going to give me a new average of 80.17. Okay. And that's his score. Figuring I have some units to it. Okay, so it improved a little bit. He went from an 81 down to about an 80. We'd call that about an 80 if we rounded. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, that's about it for mean, median, mode. If you guys have questions, I'll be back on Thursday. You guys have a great day. Bye.